Total recaps here. Today, we will be going through the events of a 2003 American superhero film, X2, X-Men United. Now, let's get right into the movie. The movie begins with the narrator wondering whether the feared mutants are the following link in evolutionary change or another species of humanity fighting for their share in the world. But sharing has never been a human's defining attribute. At the White House, a brainwashed mutant named Nightcrawler tries to kill the president. He engages in a gunfight with security and reaches the president, and when he is about to stab him with a knife, he gets shot and retreats. The knife had the slogan, "Mutant Freedom Now," written on it. Meanwhile, Logan explores an abandoned military base at the Alkali Lake, trying to find answers about his past, but finds nothing. Jean Grey starts having trouble controlling her powers. She tells Cyclops she isn't able to focus on her telepathy and feels something terrible is about to happen. In the meantime, Pyro lights a boy's shirt on fire as he gets angry at him, and Iceman instantly extinguishes it using his powers. Professor Xavier comes and freezes everyone, excluding the mutants, and tells Pyro not to show off. The mutants see Nightcrawler's news on the TV and decide to head back to their school. At the school, Cyclops, Storm, Jean, and Xavier discuss that Magneto might be behind Nightcrawler's action as he wanted mutant supremacy. Xavier says he had been trying to track Nightcrawler with the help of Cerebro, but his actions were too erratic. He then sends Storm and Jean to find and get Nightcrawler back, while he and Cyclops go to visit Magneto in prison. Colonel William Stryker, dealing with the mutant phenomenon, visits the president to ask permission for a special operation following the attack. He tells the president and the senator about the information he had obtained from Magneto. The president allows William to enter Xavier's school and interrogate, but denies permission to kill or harm any mutant. The senator asks William if he could visit Magneto, but William denies and asks him to stay out of this conflict. The senator asks whether William wants to turn this into a war, and he replies saying that it is already a war. William then visits Magneto, hypnotizes him, and extracts information about the school and Cerebro. Logan visits Professor Xavier in his office, where the professor shows him Cerebro, with the help of which Xavier is connected to all the mutants around the world. Logan says he visited the Alkali Lake base but found nothing, and hence wants Xavier to read his mind again. Xavier denies and says he needs to find answers on his own. Shape-shifting Mystique transforms into Eureka, William Stryker's assistant, and steals information about Magneto's prison. While doing so, she also learns about a second Cerebro, and is almost caught by the real Eureka, but escapes by transforming into a cleaner. Jean and Storm reach Nightcrawler's coordinates and figure out that he is a teleporter, the reason why Xavier was having trouble locating him. The two try talking to him, but he refuses, so Storm uses her powers to break the floor he is standing on, making him fall, and Jean, using her telekinetic powers, captures him midair. Nightcrawler says that the attack on the president was like a bad dream, and he wanted to stop it but couldn't. They then ask about the scars on his body, to which he says he did himself. Xavier and Cyclops visit Magneto in his cell, and they talk about Stryker's son, whom Xavier couldn't care for, at least not in the way that Stryker wanted him to. Stryker tries to kill Magneto and Xavier in Magneto's prison cell. Eureka attacks Cyclops, who fights her, and the other guardmen are present there, but Eureka defeats Cyclops while Xavier and Magneto faint. Meanwhile, Logan and Iceman bond over the struggles of not being normal. Stryker's men attack Xavier's school, and Logan fights them with a few other mutants. The students run away with the help of Colossus, while Logan stays back to fight the soldiers. Logan meets Stryker and tries to question him about his past, but is interrupted when Iceman forms a wall of ice between the two to help Logan escape. Though almost everybody escapes safely, Stryker gets a hold of Cerebro and manages to sedate 6 of the students. William Stryker captures Xavier, who figures out that Stryker was the one who had arranged the attack on the president at the hands of Nightcrawler. Stryker says his mind-controlling serum will not work on Xavier as he is too strong. Hence, he brings in mutant 143. The fluids secreted from the brain of this mutant have the ability to control people. Xavier is shaken to see the mutant and recognizes him as Stryker's son, Jason. Meanwhile, Mystique meets with Magneto's guard, sedates him, injects him with a high quantity of iron, and sends him on his way. He goes to deliver Magneto his food, and Magneto pulls out all the iron from his blood, killing him. Magneto uses the iron to escape from his prison cell. Logan, along with Iceman, Pyro, and Rogue, reach Boston to Iceman's parents' house. Iceman tells his parents that he is a mutant. They are shocked by his revelation, and his brother calls the police. The police arrive while the 4 are trying to leave. Pyro uses his powers and lights all the police cars on fire. Rogue gets a hold of his leg, gets control of his powers, and extinguishes all the fire. Soon, Storm and Jean arrive in the X-Jet and take the 4 of them on board. While in the air, the X-Jet is attacked by 2 Air Force jets. Storm uses her powers and starts multiple tornadoes, with the help of which they are able to defeat one of the jets. The other jet releases 2 missiles. Jean derails one of them, but the second one hits the jet. Rogue flies off the jet but is saved by Nightcrawler, who teleports her back into the jet. The jet is about to crash but is stopped midway because of Magneto's intervention. Magneto tells the others that Stryker attacked the school to get hold of Cerebro and that Xavier was in his captivity. He then explains that if Xavier is forced to focus on a particular group too hard, such as the mutants, eventually he would kill all of them. Magneto tells them that they need to find Stryker's base, where he is building another Cerebro. Jean uses her powers to read through Nightcrawler's brain and tells them that the base is at Alkali Lake. Logan says there is nothing at Alkali Lake, and Jean says that the base is underground. Logan gets intimate with Jean, but she rejects him. Mystique sees this all, and she impersonates Jean as she tries to seduce Logan. Logan touches her and realizes that it's not Jean. He tells her to get out. The 6 of them embark on the journey towards Alkali Lake. Magneto comments on Rogue's hair, which angers her. She is about to use her powers on him when Iceman stops her. Magneto and Pyro bond. They all devise a plan to get into Stryker's base and decide only one of them should enter first, as he could flood the entryway if he sees so many people entering. Logan enters the base. Stryker sees him from the cameras and allows him to enter. Multiple soldiers cuff his hand and accompany him inside. Stryker looks at him, tells his men that Logan is not real as he would recognize his work, and asks them to seal the room. Mystique shapeshifts back into her original form and starts fighting the men. She enters the main control room as Stryker opens the main entryway for the rest of the mutants. Meanwhile, Jason controls Xavier and uses him to get complete access to Cerebro. The entire mutant team reaches the control room. Storm and Nightcrawler decide to rescue the children held captive by Stryker. Logan sees Stryker on one of the cameras and runs away to find him, without informing any of the other members. Magneto, Jean, and Mystique decide to stop Cerebro. Stryker reaches Cerebro, where Xavier and Jason are already present. He tells Jason that it's time to find all their mutant friends. This message is communicated to Xavier in the form of a little girl who is one of his students. Due to Xavier's illusion and brainwashing, he follows what the girl says, in turn adhering to what Stryker says. Cyclops attacks Jean, Mystique, and Magneto as he is under Stryker's control. Jean stops him and tries to get him under control but is unsuccessful. Cyclops shoots his optic blast at Jean, retaliating using her telekinetic beam. The 2 forces clash, causing the dam to crack, preventing the water from flooding the base. The Force also awakens Cyclops from his brainwashed state. Logan finds the adamantium smelting room, where he regains some of the memories of his past from when he was captive inside the base. Stryker and Yuriko find him. Stryker informs him that adamantium has to keep melting and hot because once it cools, it becomes indestructible. Yuriko and Logan, aka Wolverine, engage in a battle where Yuriko transforms her nails into blades, similar to Wolverine. Logan discovers that Yuriko has similar powers to him. Yuriko has the upper hand in the fight and is about to kill Logan when he injects her with the hot adamantium, killing her. Magneto and Mystique arrive at Cerebro but are a bit late. All the mutants start having trouble and fall on their knees, nearing their death, except Magneto. He enters Cerebro and stops Xavier from killing the mutants. Magneto tells Jason to make Xavier kill all the humans instead. Stryker tries to escape but is stopped by Logan. Stryker tells him that he volunteered to endure the procedure and says that Wolverine was just a failed experiment. He then says that Logan was an animal before and is still an animal and that he just gave him claws. The dam breaks and Stryker tells Logan that within a few minutes everyone will be underwater. Stryker offers that they both escape and in return he will tell Logan all about his past. Logan chains Stryker to the helicopter wheels and leaves to find his friends. Storm, Nightcrawler, Jean, and Cyclops reach Cerebro. Jean tells them that Xavier is still trapped inside and is in some illusion. She explains that Magneto has reversed Cerebro to attack humans. Xavier starts focusing on the humans, causing them to suffer pain. Storm tells Nightcrawler to take her inside. Nightcrawler hesitantly teleports her inside, and Storm uses her powers to create a snowstorm inside Cerebro. The cold awakens Xavier from his brainwashed state, thus saving all the humans. Nightcrawler rescues Xavier and Storm, and they start running to find a way out. Logan reunites with them and takes them to a different exit. Rogue and Iceman arrive with the X-Jet, and everyone boards. Logan finds Stryker chained to a wall and leaves him there. They try to fly off but face some issues with the jet. Jean tells them that Pyro left with Mystique and Magneto in the helicopter. Water breaks through the dam and Jean decides to sacrifice herself for the sake of her friends. She steps out of the jet and uses her powers to start it. She then creates a telekinetic wall to stop the water from reaching the jet, and the jet takes off, leaving Jean behind. She releases the water and can no longer be seen by her friends. Thus, she is presumed dead. The flood also kills Stryker. Along with a few other mutants, Xavier interrupts the president's live meeting and pauses all the other humans except for him. He then presents Stryker's files to the president and explains that a war will happen if humans and mutants don't learn to live in peace. He says they should work together to create peace and that they are here to stay. They leave the meeting and the humans. Cyclops, Xavier, and Wolverine talk about Jean, and Xavier explains that they would not have been able to save her no matter what they did. Logan then tells Cyclops that she chose Cyclops over him. The movie ends with the shadow of the Phoenix appearing over the Alkali Lake. And that was my recap of the movie. I hope you enjoyed it. Now comment on what your favorite part was, and make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, this has been Total Recap.